Hello there, hello folks, welcome back to RTFM, aka Read the Freaking Menu. I'm Roberto Cruz, and today's episode 6. We're continuing our saga on RS Logix Studio 5000 Emulate. And a quick recap on the previous video, episode 5. That was the nicest video among those videos in this playlist. So this is that was the video where we set up a full setup with the RS Logix Emulate, including RS Logix 5000 Designer. So we showed you guys how to configure the Emulate side of things, and actually we wrote a bit of a program so we can see how this I/O simulation works when simulating like a physical push button or a physical sensor driving an output, a physical output. So that was episode 5. So in today's episode 6, we're going to be RTFMing the chapter 5. It's a simple one. I'm just going to show you how you can change modes on the emulated controller, and we're also going to cover a bit some other bits and pieces like the single scan, and we can go through the LEDs, what the LEDs means to when you look at the actual controller. So that would help you finding and IDing what's happening with your simulation environment. All right, so without further ado, let's just dive into it. Oh, before we just started, guys, check us out. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram. So we're gonna place the link to the Instagram page somewhere in the video. So please make sure if you guys like the content, are interested in our videos, just check us out on Instagram. You can always DM us in there if you've got any questions or just want to engage in a conversation. We really appreciate that. All right, let's just dive into that. Switching to our screen, we've got our previous program, our previous setup. So we've got an emulator running on chassis on slot number 2. I'm just going to drag that down a little bit. And which is basically, we've got a bit of a program here running, right? So do you remember that? So we can drive an input to drive an output, which is output 0 here. We can also imagine that this is a 2-button system where you've got one push button to start, one push button to stop. So that would be a pulse, right? So you pulse that, you drive your motor, and you push the second button and you just stop your motor, right? So this is a push button, although when I press here with the mouse, it just toggles it on and off. So it's a latched and unlatched button, right? Okay, so what chapter 5 does now, it talks about the modes, so you can actually change. So basically, RS Logix have got 3 types of modes, right? You've got program mode, you've got your running mode, and you've also got your remote, right? So this is obviously from the software, but if you look at the actual controller, you see there is this symbol here. This is a key. This is a physical key, so you can actually change that physically. In some places, some sites I've been to, because of security reasons, they normally leave that into RAM. RAM means remote, so you can actually access the program from whatever you are through a network or something. You can just program your software through remote. If you switch that to run, it means that your PLC is actually running, its process, its program, but you are unable to program it. You're basically unable to do anything you want because it's obviously set to run. It's forcing your PLC to be in run. So basically, some sites I've been through, they actually leave that into run, and then they take the key out and just keep the key, in a safe location. If they require some changes, they would hand the key back to you, and you can just put that in remote and you can carry out your testing. Program mode is where you can, some of the mods, you are only allowed to do them, to make them through when your controller is set to program mode. So it's a very specific, there are some very specific tasks, which are obviously, I can't recall on top of my head, but things like sometimes when you are programming, like let's say for instance, a produce consume tag, sometimes one of the ends, either the produced or consumed, requires it to be in a program mode, so you can create those tags, all right? This is just something that obviously pops up on top of my head that I can recall. But those 3 modes, and because obviously we are simulating, we can also simulate those modes. So you can right click here and I can change that to run, right? So obviously this is not changed, it's not going to change the key, and our system is already in run. And simulate, obviously, sorry guys, yeah, on the simulated environment, so you don't have the remote option, because this is just a simulation, right? So it doesn't actually, you don't require to have that, to be fair. But you can either run your processor, or you can either put it in program mode. See, so as soon as you switch that to program mode, right, you can see the icon, this icon here. You've got the description, the label changed to remote program, and obviously this is now changed to remote program. So basically, for instance, if I just trigger, the input, you see the output is not coming up now, so it doesn't let you. You can still force your inputs. You can toggle them on and off, but obviously the program, the scan stops, so the PLC is not scanning anymore. It's not checking on the image from the inputs that are coming in. So basically this is how it does. You can also, if you have multiple processors, you can also go to I/O modules, and you can just say program, which is already is. So it's set to program. If you got multiple processors, you can always change. For instance, you can select them to you can set them to run, and if there were multiple processors here, more tick boxes would pop up, so you can select. Excuse me. You can select which processors you wanna turn on, right? Run your application. All right, so let's just run that. So back to running. Okay. All right, lovely. So you see, so I can see now my simulation, and lovely. All right, so just to stop that, I'm going to show you guys another interesting feature, which is very handy, really, very handy. So let's just clear those, and I want to drag this a little bit further down here so I can show you guys what I am on about. All right, so this is our application. So you guys can see that I've also got here now, and I've got an add instruction. Basically, it's an addition instruction. What it does, as for those of you who are familiar to any program language, so you basically have got a variable A, and you adds up 1 to it into it every time the PLC runs a cycle. What I'm going to show you guys is the single scan function. So in order to start, let's just as soon as we toggle the first input, as soon as we toggle it on, we're going to start seeing this variable A just increase its value, right? And let's just go for it, and it does rapidly because it's scanning so quick. So what we're going to do now is right click on the controller, and we do single scan. Check this out. So it basically stops, right? It stopped, and the variable is now sitting to 361. So you can see how fast is that. So this took a couple of seconds, because obviously control is just running its scans on a milliseconds basis. It just populates that very quick, right? Because the way the instruction does is, as long as this run is true, it will do the addition. It will make the addition. So which means that this is very quick. It stays on for milliseconds, just every single millisecond, just adding. That's why the number is so high, and it just pops up and just adds up very quick. So now when you select single scan, a window pop-up comes up saying run continuously, no single scans again. All right, so would you like to run continuously? I'm going to say no. So what it does, look, so we've got now 362, so it just adds 1 cycle. So it's 1 millisecond and then stop. So if I keep doing this, it's going to go 364, 365, and so on and so forth. So you see how useful is that for you to debug your application. So this is pretty handy, right? If I just press yes, check this number. It's going to just now again, just bangs on coming up because of this scanning so fast. So I can just stop the application right now by pushing that. Here we go. We just basically pressed the stop button right within our code. Very simple one. Just close that. All right, lovely. So this is it, folks. This is how how you can change the modes. Very simple one, really, and how you can run a single scan. Before we just ended up this video, just a quick one, right, guys? The manual says on page 34, we've got a few indicators. So basically, you got the LEDs. So I'm just gonna read that through you guys. Basically, the run signal here, right here. So LED, if it's off, the controller is in any mode but run mode, right? If it's solid green, the controller is in run mode. So that LED right here, right? I/O. So we've got our I/O LEDs. I/O says if it's off, it's either there are no devices in the I/O configuration of the controller, and if, to be honest, guys, let me just, instead of doing this, let me just show you the menu, because you guys can actually use that as a reference for future videos. So if you want to stop the video, let's zoom in, right? Here we go. So I'm gonna have, obviously I'm gonna leave these in the description of these videos, so don't worry about too much about that. But if all you gotta know is where you refer to when you wanted to know or find your troubleshooting system. So basically you've got all the LED systems right here for the simulation, either for the controller and the I/O. All right. It's going to be boring really for any of those topics. Obviously the manual, you can find the manual in the description of this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed these videos. So again, thanks for watching. Please do consider subscribe to this channel if you really like the content. Any comments, any thoughts, any ideas, just leave down in the comments below. Your likes are really appreciated. Don't forget to ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Always, guys, always RTFM. Stay tuned, and I see you next time. Thank you.